What does it take to convert a stranger into a paying customer inside of your sales funnel? After reviewing hundreds of funnels from people like Sam Ovens, Iman Gadzhi, Sabri Suby, and Hormozi, this was still a glaring question in my mind. I've always been a little bit obsessed with making sense of confusing problems. I find something so satisfying about gaining clarity from chaos and nuance. And today, there's no shortage of advice about how to get customers. I've got dozens of books behind me to prove it. But still, this question was unanswered in my mind. And that's because some funnels are miles long while some only possess a few words. Some swear by high-ticket services while others recurring revenue. Some sell digital products and some physical. Were there any patterns to all of this madness? Well, that's exactly what I wanted to figure out. And in this video, I want to share the 7 patterns that I found after reviewing hundreds of funnels that every single 7- and 8-figure funnel follows, whether they know it or not. So let's start with the first pattern. I call it the bridge. So if we back up a little bit, one of the most common issues I see when people ask me to review their funnels is they're not doing this. And it's because they don't understand why people buy at the core of it, right? They don't understand that people buy for one of 2 reasons. And those 2 reasons are they're either trying to move away from a painful problem or they're trying to move towards an unmet desire. So let's look at this first with the painful problem. People buy primarily because of pain. Well, what does this mean? Well, if your funnel doesn't speak to the real pain they're experiencing, right? You have to actually know what they're experiencing, then it's not going to resonate and not going to get them to take action, right? An easy example of this is if you speak primarily about the features of your product, right? Rather than the benefits, i.e. in this case, the pain that they solve, then you're not going to get the sales that you want. Let's look at an example of this. This is a supplement called Zupu. You might have seen this supplement on YouTube ads. The guy's saying you have like 20 pounds of toxic waste inside your gut. And if you want to lose weight and, take a few belt loops off, then this is what you got to do. So read this copy right here. Due to nutrient poor modern diets, it's no wonder why so many people have experienced feeling bloated and struggling with weight loss. They're primarily speaking here to the pain the person is experiencing, right? Feeling bloated and struggling with weight loss. As a bonus here, they're also throwing rocks at nutrient poor modern diets. What does that do? Well, they're casting the blame away from the person and putting it on these modern diets. In marketing, you almost never want to put the blame on the consumer, right? You want to put it somewhere else. Like, hey, it's not your fault. It's because of this thing, right? And that's exactly what Zupu is doing here. So that's number 1. But the second part is an unmet desire. And most marketers use unmet desires, right? And really smart marketers use unmet desires and then the pain people experience by not having that unmet desire. And I want to show you how Joe Rogan in particular is doing this. So if you've ever seen Joe Rogan's podcast, you've probably heard of Alpha Brain. It's this like memory, nootropic, focus supplement that I believe he started the company and I think he sold it, but he still does a lot of the marketing for them. And it's a dietary supplement that helps support cognitive functions, including memory, mental speed, and focus. Okay. They don't do it very much in the funnel, but if you listen to the way Joe promotes this on his podcast, he always like conveniently gives people bottles of the supplement. He's preaching about how he feels better than ever, right? He's selling the desire by speaking about the benefits that he's got from it, right? He says he feels great. He can notice a difference. As a knowledge worker, he's able to perform better and so forth, right? This is speaking to the desire that people want, right? Increased memory, mental speed, and focus. And if you go through this page, right, it talks about the ultimate way to get in the zone. People want to get into the zone. And then it even talks about getting into flow state, right? About how, the days when you read a half a dozen chapters, write 1,000 words and finish a work assignment without looking up once, right? And then when you do it, you notice it's suddenly dark outside. How would you like to feel like that more often? Again, they're selling to the desire. So those are the 2 things that make up the bridge. But why do I call this the bridge? Well, in your copy, if you can position your product as the bridge from their current situation to their desired situation, right? So from feeling like they have brain fog, the painful problem, to having increased memory, being able to perform better at their job, the desire, and you make your product the bridge, people are going to purchase it at a much higher frequency. Now, there's a common pitfall here to watch out for, and that's to make sure you're using real benefits, not faux benefits. This is often really hard because you have to dig down deep and figure out what people actually want. A faux benefit is the surface level, right? Like I might want to learn how to play the guitar, but why do I want to learn how to play the guitar? What's deeper? That's probably a bit of a weird example, right? An easier one would be weight loss. You could think about, okay, they want to lose weight, but why? Like what are the real desires behind it? the more you can speak to that real desire, the better your sales funnels will be. Now, those are the first two beliefs, pain and desire, and we get there by the bridge, but how do we actually fill in all the gaps? Because that alone oftentimes is not enough if we want to convert as many people from strangers into customers. Well, this is where we get to our ancillary beliefs. So there's 5 more beliefs that you cannot miss. Number 1 is cost. Okay, so cost is the cost of not buying your product needs to be greater than the cost of buying your product, right? This can be both monetary and non-monetarily, right? Dave Ramsey does this exceptionally well inside of his Financial Peace University sales funnel. He says, you cannot afford not to do this, right? Stop doing the same thing and expecting different results. By pushing on the pain, it goes back to pain, right? And also speaking to the desire and showing, hey, you are in a horrible situation right now. If you don't change anything, you're going to continue to be in the same exact situation. So they're building cost and they're showing, hey, $80 is not much compared to the misery that you're in right now because you're not in financial peace. Now, that's cost. That's kind of the negative aspect of not doing it. But what about value? What do they have to gain by doing it? And these two go together well, but value can be in many different ways, right? Alex Hormozi gives this great example for salespeople often where he says, hey, it's never the price, it's always the value, right? And the way he articulates this is he says, if you had the same prospect that just told you no on the phone, right? You said the price, he said that's too expensive. If you told that same exact prospect, there's a Ferrari sitting in your front driveway, right? It's worth 300 grand. It's a 2024, it's brand new, it's red, it's amazing, got the, the tan interior, whatever. The only catch is you got to give me the money within the next 3 hours, right? If they believe you, right, which they probably could because they could go walk out to the driveway. If they believe you, they are going to find the 10 grand, right? Because the value is extraordinary, right? So if people are telling you no, it's because they don't value what you have enough, which means either you need to lower the price or find a way to increase the value. Now, I want to show you how Ali Abdal does this exceptionally well. So Ali Abdal takes his part-time YouTuber Academy and he takes it from a commodity, just a course, and he makes it into a true offer that has a lot of value. He stacks it, right? Showing all of these different things you get, as well as attributing some of these different values, like over $900 to it. But now you look at all this like, man, this is a lot of stuff I'm getting for only $995. He's stacking the value so that, again, the price you're paying you feel like is way less than it's worth. That's what we're trying to accomplish with value. Now, one of the most important ones, though, is doubt. This is the next ancillary belief, doubt. They need to doubt that they can't do it on their own. Like I'll go back to the alpha brain example. If I just think, oh, I can just go drink an extra glass of water and get the same result, I'm just going to go do that, right? Because there's no cost associated with that. So if there's no doubt, then there's no sale, right? They need to have a painful problem and doubt that they can get the solution without you. And to show you a really good example of this, once again, I want to go back to Dave Ramsey. He says 3 reasons you're not where you want to be. Number 1, you think you're doing okay, but you're not. That's why you're here. You're in debt. You feel like a rat in a wheel, running and running, but getting nowhere. That's not okay. Okay? He's saying, hey, you can't just keep doing what you're already doing and expect the same result. He already said that earlier, right? He says, you think you've heard all this before, right? You can listen to every hour of the Ramsey Show for free, know every baby step. So why are you still stressed and in debt? You know what to do. You're just not doing it. He's creating doubt that if you don't buy Financial Peace University, you're never going to make the change that you need to make. And this all ties in together. You can see they have the pain, they have the desire, they're building costs, he's building value, right? And now he's kind of sprinkling in this doubt that they're not going to do it on their own. If you start getting all these things, of course, you get to the sale. But there's one more that's probably the most important, and that's trust, right? If we go back to the Hormozi example of the Ferrari, if you don't trust me, it doesn't matter if you have the pain of not having that 290 grand. It doesn't matter if you have the desire of having the 290 grand and all the things you're going to buy with it. It doesn't matter, if that's a real desire, and if there's cost and value and doubt and all these things if you don't trust that it's real, right? Trust is really the glue that holds all of these things together. This is something that literally exclusively every single successful funnel does. And I want to show you how Hormozi himself does it, since we were just talking about him. This is for his book funnel, $100 million leads. Let's just go through this page and see how he builds trust. Number one bestseller on Amazon. Over 800,000 copies sold. 4.9 out of 5 stars, 800,000 copies sold. Loved by leading entrepreneurs in the space. A bunch of reviews from real people. Thousands of Amazon reviews showing just, tons of reviews here. An interesting thing here is these are actually the same reviews. Like if you look here, I followed his book, I consume all of Alex's work. That's down here somewhere. It's only like 10 reviews, but they're making it look like 100. That's a little design tweak there that's working pretty well. Again, more social proof right there, more social proof down here. He's building trust, but not only that, he's been building trust on YouTube, right? This isn't cold traffic coming to this page. And that brings me to probably one of the most important parts of this whole video, because when I was doing all of this research and asking this big question, like, what does it really take to get people to convert? I kept going back to this idea. I was looking at one of Sam Oven's funnels for his WeTube product. We did a video on this. It was very, very simple. It was like headline, video, and a call to action button where you put a deposit. And that was it, right? Compared to like Sabri Suby's book funnel, it was literally nothing. And I was thinking, okay, Sabri's trying to sell a free book, right? And free plus shipping for $8. Sam is selling a $10,000 mastermind. Sam has almost nothing on his page. He's basically doing none of these, right, on that page, whereas Sabri is doing every single one of them. How do they both work, right? And then I thought of it. Sam was selling to warm traffic. Why does that matter? Well, when you think about these 7 beliefs, there's explicit beliefs and implicit beliefs. And what I mean by that is that you can either explicitly get people to believe all of these things, right? That they trust you, that they value what you have, that the cost of not doing it is greater than the cost of doing it, right? Implicitly, the traffic can get there on their own, right? Either by something you say, or this is the reason why organic content is so valuable. The traffic has already been warmed up to all these things. They already trust you, right? And they're able to come to these other conclusions in their mind because they've been consuming your content for a long time, right? This is why someone like Alex Hormozi can just launch something and get 800,000 sales, right, for his book. Whereas someone else needs to do all of these, different things to jump through the hoops. But I think where this gets really, really interesting is when you combine the two, right? When you go through these 7 beliefs inside of your sales funnel, but you also have all the trust that comes from doing it implicitly through content, right? When you build a brand, and then when you do an ask, you have all of this inside of the sales funnel. So these have been the 7 beliefs that I found inside of every single successful 7 and 8 figure funnel. If you think I missed something, drop it in the comments. I'd love to see it. Here's another video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy as well. And if you like this video, I'll see you in the next one.